I'm Bambi Francisco with this segment of Lessons for Entrepreneurs, and I'm speaking with the founders of Ooyala. I'm speaking with Bismarck Lepe, Sean Knapp, and Balthasar Lepe. Gentlemen, thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Let's start with Balthasar. Let's talk about one lesson that you've learned now as an entrepreneur.
Sure.
And you're all of 21 now.
That's correct. And my biggest lesson learned actually has to do with my edge. And it actually has to do with Ooyala. You know, when I was 19, and then I actually got the call from Bismarck to start Ooyala. You know, at the time I was a student at Stanford. I was also working at Google full time, and you know, I had just great. I guess things were going very well for me.
Yeah.
And so, the moment Bismarck calls me, I have this very great opportunity in front of me, which is to go with people that I know very well to start a business and really build something that can touch a lot of lives, or to continue, and do what conventional wisdom tells you to do, is, stay in school and actually finish that up. And of course I'm here, and what I ended up doing is very obvious. I ended up deciding to take leave from Stanford and actually go and pursue that opportunity. And I guess the lesson learned there is, you shouldn't be afraid about going and running with the opportunities that are presented to you. If you're gonna fail big. And if you're going to go after something that's big, do it while you're young. I mean, I'm definitely young. I was 19 at the time, and I'm 21 now.
Well, as Bill Gates and I think Mark Zuckerberg have both said, that if you fail, there's always Harvard. So if you fail, there's always Stanford, which isn't so bad. So, John, what's your lesson?
So, building off of what Bill said, was life at Google was great when the three of us were working there, and I really wouldn't have left for hardly any opportunity. But when Bismarck approached me, and I had a chance to really sit down and work through a lot of the details with Bell as well, it became really compelling. When we started the company, we went through numerous business models in the first few months. But the important part that has really made our company be successful over the last year and a half, 2 years, has been the team. It really does come down to the people, and there was very few people in the world who could have actually pulled me away from what we were doing at Google, but this team did it, and it's really paid off.
Do you want a hug? We can hug.
We can hug.
Yeah, you want a hug?
Team hug? Oh, yeah, we captured that. That's great. They left out Bell. Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay, so just on that, is it because you guys run together? Is it because you were former roommates, you're brothers? I mean, what is it? I've heard that you have to get along more than you have to have complementary skills.
I think the three of us, even outside of Ooyala, you would still find us spending time together. We would still hang out regardless. We were doing our relay races together at Google, the 200-mile, 12-man relay races.
And you talked, did you get that deal done while you're running? No.
We get along very well. A lot of people ask, with three founders, how do you find, to avoid contention for different roles and responsibilities? And it's never even been an issue for us. It's always come very naturally.
Besides the fact that your name starts with S, but anyway,
right.
You're going to change. Anyway, so Bismarck, what is your lesson?
I think being honest, not sugarcoating things. From an investor standpoint, they've been through this before. They understand that things aren't necessarily always going to go as well. And as the entrepreneur, I think usually you want to paint everything in the rosiest of pictures. But the reality is that things don't always go as well. I think being honest with your employees is also very key. They're in it with you, and they should have all of the information in order to make their own decisions. Once you enable them with that, I think more often than not, they will do the right thing.
Well, picking the right team right now, clearly you guys chose the right team. Some people have said that's been a mistake in the past. What in the last couple of years, or almost 2 years since you've been around, since you've launched in the spring of 2007, any mistakes that you made that, maybe hiring too fast, not raising enough money, raising too much money? What is it that, can you touch on something that's more specific about a lesson, a mistake, an entrepreneur mistake?
Well, I mean, I can, several short ones. You should wear pants to VC meetings. Don't wear shorts. That's one.
So, one of the ones that I actually just thought of goes back to a speech that Quincy Smith had from CBS, and it was about a year ago, where he said, now is the time where big media is, for the first time, doing more to understand technology than technology is to understand big media. And I think what he got at, and a lot of the experience that we built off of when we were back at Google was we as technologists always tend to enter a space and essentially approach it as we see the problem, we understand the perfect solution, here's how you guys should do this, as opposed to we see the problem, we see how you're trying to solve the problem, and let's figure out how we can jointly work together where we can provide a solution that works very well within the existing models, the existing frameworks you have within your own industry. And oftentimes as technologists, we tend to get too excited and immediately go to what we think is the perfect solution without really understanding the larger context of what we're trying to solve. And it's what we have as, I think, technologists and as an enterprise company have had to continually remind ourselves of, that we have very serious customers who are building profitable business online using our services, and we need to very carefully listen to what they need.
Sure. You touched on an interesting point. You keep talking about technologists. You have 18 people in your company?
No, we're closer to 50.
Okay. I'm really up to date. Closer to 50. So as you think about building your company, are you mostly technologists, or because you work with a lot of media and potentially big media, have you brought in big media people? I mean, is that something or how do you
I'd say we're a technology company at our core, and so if we were to actually look at the distribution of engineers versus other folks, we're primarily engineers. But I mean, we've got people who, it's a startup. We've hired people who are very capable and are capable in roles outside of engineering as well. We've got people who are very good at shooting video, for instance. People who are very good at marketing. So engineering at our core, but people who are very capable in other walks of life as well.
It's probably about 50% engineering, slightly more than 15%. Our sales team is, I think we have about 13 or 14 salespeople. A nice, large inside sales team, and then a couple of field salespeople.
Okay. And final question, I get this often, what does it feel like to work with my husband? So what does it feel like, or how do you work with what have you learned about business and working with your brother and working with your roommate, because Sean and Bismarck, you were dorm mates at Stanford, and you two are brothers?
Sure, we are brothers. That's what they've been telling me these last couple of years. I think it's really helped that there's an age discrepancy between us. It's, I think, a little larger than what is typical. He's actually, maybe I shouldn't throw the number out there, but it's up there. And,
a year.
More than a year. But I think that's really changed the dynamics between us two. He's not a brother. He's more like, I like to call him the cool living uncle. And to date, our interactions, and brotherly level as well, but also business in nature. And so that is, whether we were interacting at Google or interacting at Ooyala, it's always been a touch of business. So it's not something that's actually very difficult. It's just something that's been inherent in our relationship from day one.
Is it more pressure to think about your brother in all respects when you're also the CEO of the company that he works for? No?
No, not really. And I think that mainly comes from my parents, when they basically said that if and when I turned 16, if I wasn't on the college track, I was out of the family, out of the house. And so it's been the same thing with Bell. And I think I've always kind of been more of a live consultant to him, and he's listened. To his credit, he has listened, which has been great. And in general, it's translated to work. But as Sean said earlier, we get along very well. It just kind of works.
Okay. And then you guys also lived together for 50 days or so. Isn't that true? The first 50 days.
Yeah. We shared a very small office.
Half as big as
this room.
Sleeping bags.
Half of which was for desks. Half of which was reserved for the foosball table and sleeping area. And
that's like 2 months.
We had we had our daily runs. We actually booked in the early days a run every day.
Maybe companies should do that to start. That's kind of like a team building process.
It definitely helped, and something else that I don't know if we mentioned, we share a very competitive streak, the three of us. So it's cool to meet two people who are as competitive as you are and just really want to sprint in the same direction just to accomplish things. And I think that's something that definitely my interaction.
Actually.
Literally, exactly. So that's definitely helped my interactions with these two guys.
Great. Well, your lesson: just do it. Focus on the team. Select the right team members and be honest. Those are great lessons and advice for the entrepreneurs on Vader TV. So thank you very much for your insights.
Thank you, Bambi.
I've been speaking with Bismarck Lepe, Sean Knapp, and Belshazzar Lepe. You're watching Vader News, and I'm Bambi Francisco.